It's not long before we head out to Alaska for the very first time. We're going to be cruising on the NCL Bliss and we cannot wait to visit this region.
We've given it a lot of thought and we're absolutely not going to go whale watching. The main reason is we've been spoiled by a whale watching experience we had in Monterey, California, and that's what we're going to take you through right now. And stick around to the end because a pod of dolphins showed us back to shore, including Casper, the albino dolphin.
Back in 2022, we did a drive down the Pacific Coast Highway, which was fantastic. On our way to Monterey, we stopped at Moss Landing, which is a known sea otter resting area, where we saw lots of sea otters. It was a really hot day, and they were all swimming around on their backs and just being adorable and cute as they are. So we're really hoping we get to see some sea otters when we're up in Alaska next month.
As you can see, the weather on this California road trip was fantastic, and one of the reasons we're considering not doing any excursions like this in Alaska is because of the weather. We're there for the first sailing of the season, at least for the NCL Bliss, and we don't think we're going to have as good a luck because of the weather, or we certainly won't be as comfortable ourselves.
Yeah, one of the only drawbacks with sailing this early in the season is the weather. Luckily, we're all really good sailors. We don't get seasick. Well, touch wood, we don't get seasick. We haven't in 25 years of going on ships and sailing around the world, so I don't think we're going to get seasick now. But going out in small boats, weather not particularly great, maybe not great visibility, we figured we'd sit this one out in Alaska and explore on land instead. Other wildlife we also saw on this trip were the elephant seals at San Simeon. This really was an amazing sight to see and definitely one to stop at if you were on the drive down Pacific Highway 1.
Apparently, elephant seals have been known to be as far north as Alaska, and we really do hope to see them.
Or any sea lion would be good. We do like sea lions. If you've seen our San Diego vlogs, you'll notice that we went to see the sea lions in La Jolla as well. Anyway, back to our whale watching trip. We used a company called Monterey Bay Whale Watch, who are based in Monterey, right on the pier, which is where you board the boats. There are quite a few different companies and they all pretty much offer the same type of tours. They go out in the morning, they go out in the afternoon, or they do an all-day trip. We chose to do an afternoon trip. We didn't know if we would see as much as the morning trip, but we weren't disappointed with the wildlife that we got to see.
Yeah, on any whale watching trip anywhere in the world, you're not guaranteed to see any whales, and you're definitely not guaranteed to see them breaching, coming up out of the water. But on this particular day, for some reason, we counted, actually the organizers, the Monterey Bay Whale Watch people, counted over 20 breaches just on this one trip.
I've checked the website today, so the current prices are $72 per adult, $61 for children between the ages of 4 and 16, and under 4s are $20 each.
And how does that compare to Alaska prices?
So I looked today, and on the NCL website for our cruise, if we wanted to do a 2.5-hour trip from Icy Strait Point, it would have been £158 per person.
And at today's exchange rate, that would be $200 per person. So for a family of 4 like us, that's $800.
And we haven't paid top dollar for this trip. It was a really good deal, which is one of the reasons we booked it, because it is so early in the season. A lot of things are going to be closed. So we really don't want to add on extras that are going to really push the trip price up. We'll probably come back to Alaska in the future. So we'll do more things then, probably when it's just Tony and I and the kids have grown up.
Absolutely stunning. Folks, we don't get breaches every day. We need to save some of these breaches for other trips. You know, this is like unbelievable. And again, behind this breacher, there's several other whales. Obviously, they're feeding.
Whoa! But back to our trip in Monterey. This was in April, and the weather was in the 80s Fahrenheit. It was not normal April weather for this part of California, but it was absolutely fantastic.
Everybody said to wrap up warm on the boats, and obviously it was a little bit chillier out there, but because the day was so hot, it was actually a real relief to be outside.
I asked the zoologist on the boat, the marine
biologist.
marine biologist on the boat, if the whales were like us, in being mammals and enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the warmer weather? And he said, absolutely. So it could be that we saw so many whales on this day because the weather was unseasonably warm and unseasonably sunny and unseasonably clear.
Yeah, I think
really
they were
cool to
just
see.
playing and enjoying themselves. That looks like he's enjoying himself or herself.
One of the things that I wasn't ready for was the fact that you have to be completely ready at all times. You don't know when or where a whale is going to jump up out of the water.
I should add that this was something that Tony wasn't that bothered about doing. It was me that was going, let's go whale watching. It's going to be really, really good. And he didn't think we were going to see anywhere near the amount of animals that we did see.
I've seen vlogs on whale watching in both California and in Alaska, and I've seen people freak out at a blowhole or half a fin, and that's all they get to see. So, yes, indeed, I wasn't that bothered about this trip before we did it. And as you can see by this footage, we are pretty much now spoiled for any other whale watching excursion. The weather won't be as perfect, and we probably won't see as many whales being as active and as up out of the water as we actually did. However, we would love to see some orcas.
Yes, I've seen an orca once. This is a bit of a long story back to when we were cruising. We were on the world cruise. I can't remember where we were. I think we were somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. And we were rehearsing in the theatre for our show that evening. And this theatre was at the front of the ship. Very often they put them at the back, but this was at the front of the ship. And it was right by the bridge. And one of the guys working the bridge came running into the theatre and told us that there was an orca. So I ran out and I saw the orca, and Tony was up in the tech booth. So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go and tell Tony there's an orca. So I ran back to get Tony. We rushed back to the window and we were told, oh, you missed an orca and its baby. So if I'd stayed put, I would have seen that baby as well as the mummy orca. You didn't get to see either of them, did you?
No, and Beth's never let me forget either of those things. We did kind of make up for it on this trip. I mean, this one was so close. These are humpbacks, I believe.
Yeah. We were there at the beginning of April, which is known as the humpback season. And it's also the time of year between April and December where you can expect to see humpback whales, blue whales, which would be amazing to see, orcas and dolphins. And we did see dolphins, quite a few of them. And between January and March, it's the grey whale season. So it's good to see grey whales and dolphins. This is called fin slapping, but we like to think he's actually waving hello to us.
Well, that was recorded.
Wow. I'd like to remind you that what you're about to see is not National Geographic footage. It is actually what I shot with my phone. This was a year and a half before we ever started vlogging.
We really weren't making it up when we say we saw a lot of whale action.
We obviously weren't the only vessel in the area. Imagine being on this sailboat and having this right in front of you. Amazing.
Where it's traveled. Look at that, that's completely white, that peck fin. That's most likely a Central American humpback.
up to this point, and before we returned back towards the harbour, we'd seen quite a lot of wildlife. We'd obviously seen lots of whales. Yeah, we are huge animal lovers, as you will see. This is Turkle, our cat. He's nearly 4 years old and he hasn't done any travelling.
Yes, he has. That's why he wears an air tag. He tends to go missing, or he has gone missing for long periods of time.
That's actually very true. He did go walk about for 3 days and he's desperate to get back down, so I'm going to put him down. We'd also seen sea otters and sea lions on the way out, but up to this point we hadn't seen any dolphins. And there was one dolphin in particular that I was really hoping that we'd get to see because we've heard so much about him. He was called Casper, and he is a white Rissos dolphin. And I believe if you look very carefully now, you will see him. Yes, he's there. That is Casper.
Whatever we get up to in Alaska next month, we know we're going to have a fantastic time, and we can't wait to take you along with us. If you don't want to miss those videos, please make sure that you subscribe to Traveling with Teens and click the notification bell so you know when our new weekly material drops.
And let us know about your best whale watching excursions, or any wildlife excursions you've been on that you recommend, maybe in Alaska, maybe in other parts of the world. We love wildlife, we love to travel and include it. We've done safaris in South Africa, and at the moment we are obsessed with watching some bald eagles in a nest in California.
Jackie and Shadow.
Yeah, if you don't know who Shadow and Jackie are, Google them. They are the cutest.
We'll leave a link for they actually have their own YouTube page, their own YouTube channel. We'll leave that down below. It's a 24-hour streaming channel from their bald eagle's nest. We'll leave that down below.
If you like watching nature as much as we do, and as much as we enjoyed watching these dolphins, I'm sure you will like Shadow and Jackie. And we hope you will watch us and join us for some future videos.
See you next time.